Hello, lovely people of the world. Welcome back to the second episode of Sundara Wildlife Park and Conservation Zoo. In the last episode, I gave you a tour of three animals by the entrance of Sunstride Expanse. We toured the caracal, fennec fox, and the sandcat, so if you haven't seen that video, please check them out. Today, I'll be giving you a tour of Suyana. So, a little background to Suyana. The name Suyana means hope in the Quechua language. But for me, it's a name of a zoo created by Esden Wolf. At the time of making this facility, I was watching every single episode of that zoo in my second monitor. I love that zoo and I'm a big fan of Esden Wolf. That's why I feel like it's only right to name this facility Suyana. As for the facility itself, this is a central care hub for all the big cats in Sunstride Expanse. We have specialized vet area, specialized keeper area, research, and so on, you name it. But that's not everything. So let's dive right in and explore to see what this facility has to offer. But before we go in, let's check out the animals right outside the facility. Alright, let's get into the tour. So you might already catch a glimpse from the last video by the caracals and the fennec fox. We have the Aardvark. I have two Aardvarks in here. The male is Kumba and the female is Pemba. And I choose Aardvark in here because they don't require a large enclosure. And of course, they fit in very well with Sunstride Expanse because they do live out in the savannah. And here we have the information about aardvarks and their conservation status. I'm happy to know that they are least concerned, which is great. That's why it's green. I also put a burrowing cam to see them during the day because aardvarks are nocturnal. And I think, is that an offspring? Did Kumba and Pemba have a offspring? Oh, that's nice. We have a new addition to the zoo. Another interesting fact about aardvarks is that their tongue can reach up to 30 centimeters long. They can suck up to thousands of ants just in one night, which I really find it interesting. They do have all of their enrichment in here and everything they need. They have the termite mound over here. The large barrel feeder, which I think they're eating right now. Look at that. Those are ants and termites, which is what they primarily eat. Oh, that's the offspring. Oh my god, so cute. Look at that. Yeah. Anyway, they do have everything they need. There's a play ball, there's some boxes, and the burrows that we saw on the cam just earlier. Just there. I really like how everything turns out. You can really see the animal up close and you can see all around the enclosure, which is great. There's a sign here as well to not feed the animals because they will be deadly for the animal. And there's another sign here in the middle. If you notice from the last video, this sign is a little different than the green ones you guys saw before. This is white. So the white means that the animal is not part of Sundara's research and breeding program. However, they are a part of the Rescue and Rehabilitate program. So that means this animal was taken from the illegal pet trade or taken custody from a pet husbandry somewhere, or they are rescued and they can't survive out in the wild anymore. Maybe because they are, they grew up in human care, or maybe they're injured in the wild. In the case of our aardvarks, Pemba and Kumba, we actually took them from a zoo somewhere in Indonesia because the zoo is struggling financially and they can no longer provide proper care for them. That's why we come in and let us have it and let us take care of it. So that's the story behind Pemba and Kumba. That's the Aardvark. So here's a little cinematic for them. So right next to the aardvark, we have the African porcupine. There they are right there. There's one over there and there's one over there. Now, I do have to be honest, this was a filler animal. I needed to fill this empty space somehow, but I couldn't figure out how to make them connect. You know, I played around with a couple things. I tried this and that, but the only thing that would fit this space is another enclosure. And that's where the African porcupine comes into play. I was searching for an animal small enough to fit, and of course with animal welfare in mind. And that's how Bonnie and Birdie becomes a part of Sundara. Bonnie and Birdie were rescued from a pet owner. Unfortunately, the pet owner sadly passed away, and they needed someone to take care of them, and that's where we come in. Their enclosure is quite small, but they do have everything they need in here. They have enrichment items, burrows, food trays, and even running hot water enrichment. Now, some interesting facts about the porcupine is that they are covered with 30,000 quills or so. And that's interesting. And they can't shoot it, by the way. They can't shoot their quill. That is a myth that people say. So don't get that part confused. Even though this was a filler animal, I still really love how it turns out to be. I think the foliage works, surprisingly works. And it does become a great viewpoint for the guests, both the inside and the outside, compared to just a plain wall for the aardvark before. This was just an empty space. One of my favorite thing about this enclosure is that you can see the design of the building very well from this perspective. It started out flat and just about there it curves down, making this really nice blend to the design on that side, and I love that. Their information is inside. There's a white sign on the wall, and the education board is right here, so that the guests could enjoy some shade after a long period of exposure in the sun. They could enjoy something nice. And now that we are in here, let's take you back out to the front and let's start the tour from here. At the front of the building, you'll see a big sign that says the name of the facility and the logo. This is Ricey's font. She is very popular in the workshop, and I'll put the link down in the description as well. I love her work, and you'll see plenty of Ricey's creation around the zoo. So as you walk in the facility, you see this sign made by Lion. This sign is some kind of certification to operate, to show the visitors that we are legit and we do have the permission to do what we do. So that's what this sign is all about. So let's walk right in. This is the reception desk. This is both a gift shop and a tour reception. Here you can sign up for a tour around the facility, and you can have an exclusive backstage tour. Normally, you don't get that from buying the ticket at the entrance, but we are a non-profit, so the money that we get from the tour and the donations inside the facility goes directly into what this facility is doing. You can get a couple things in here, some coffee, tea, and some stuff you normally see in zoo gift shops. And on this side is the restaurant. I'm very proud of this. The chandelier and the pillar that holds the roof. I think the pillar turns out great. I love the curve that it has, and I like how this lampshade looks. I just combined two lampshades and randomized them all around the central pillar, and There's another thing here is like a drink decoration. It's a small thing, but I think it adds to the realism. This whole thing was a headache to figure out. I mean, I went through multiple trial and errors, and I think in making this facility alone, I spent the longest time making this structure just to make it right, you know. But I'm glad that it turns out great. Down here is the sunken tables. It's sunken, so it is lower to the ground, lower than this path. You can see the stairs going down. I love sunken things. I mean, I've been to a restaurant that has a sunken table, and in my grandma's house, she also has a sunken conversation pit, and I wanted to incorporate that in the facility. I think if this exists in real life, I would eat here every day just because it's sunken. I just love it so much, you know. This goes around, and here is the bathroom. I think it'll be weird to have this big facility with no bathroom. That's why I just put it there. The guest in the game was complaining a lot because there is a lack of toilets. That's why it's here. I know it's like sandbox, you can turn that off, but it's like I want a bit of realism in there, so that's why it's fitting too. It's a fitting place for a toilet. Next to it is where you order your food and drinks. You can choose to sit in the sunken tables like before, or you can choose to sit over here. You can eat close to the African porcupine, and if you're sitting on this side, you can see a little bit of the meerkat enclosure over there. There's a couple drink vending machines behind, so even if you're not eating, and you can still buy drinks and sit down and rest. And at the end, there's an ATM. If you're an Indonesian, you might recognize the colors of the ATMs because they are color coded into Indonesian banks. And finally, this is the name of the restaurant. It's called the Effiong. I know in the game this is where the guests would enter the restaurant and they'll get spawned into their seats, but I just like to pretend that this is like an open kitchen instead. Next to it is also the sitting place is a little different, as if they're not part of the restaurant, because they are not. So if you take the backstage tour of the facility, this is the VIP waiting lounge. You can buy some drinks or some snacks while you wait before the keepers will take you around. But let's not get into this now. Let's not talk about the VIP now, because later I'll be giving a backstage tour. So let's go to the Meerkats. So we saw a glimpse of the meerkats before, and now let's head over to the enclosure. A group of meerkats is actually called a mob or a gang or a clan, which I find really funny. So I have a gang of 8 meerkats, 4 males and 4 females, and their names are Manoka, Otto, Alexa, Jack, Aragon, Nora, Ada, and Alake. So we got these meerkats from another zoo in Indonesia. They had 2 different mobs of meerkats, and some of them has a couple offspring. so they just send it over to us. You can see the meerkats from all around. So if they are hanging out, say they're hanging out at that side, you can go over there and see them up close. Since it's a circular enclosure, the keeper gates unfortunately are visible. There's no good way to hide it, but I think, I did quite alright. I did put in some notes for the keepers to add that illusion of a real zoo. There's some information as well beside it, but my favorite information board is the one up here. I do put them on every side, so no one can miss it. About the barriers, right? Initially, this was just a this was just a big wooden structure to hold the place down, and I wanted to put glass barriers all around because for most zoos that's how they do it. But with a 360 viewing enclosure, there is barely any space for the animal to feel safe. So I added this wooden stuff and to connect between the structures. That gives the animal some sense of privacy, while also the kids can peek through in a little bit. And it might not seem very visible, but there is glass in between, so the meerkats has no way of escaping as well. Aside from the barriers, I also put a couple burrows inside the enclosure. Even if they do have like this kind of behavior as well, I think it's nice just to add a couple so they have options. And they have this really nice pond in the middle, which it looks really nice from over here. It might not seem too big for us, but it is quite big for them. And they do have this tunnel enrichment and plenty other enrichment all around. So it's kind of nice. You can actually see one going through it right now, which is really, really cute. Look at that. So yeah, that is the meerkats. Now, to the core animal of the facility, the West African lion. But before we head over there and look at the lions, let me show you the stuff inside first. I think that'll be easier for the tour. I put another certificate sign over here in case the guest was coming in, seeing the porcupines first and missed the certificate. So I just put it here just in case. Right next to it is a lion sign made by Utterly Adorable, and I think it looks fun for the kids. Now, this is the first time you're seeing this sign. This sign was also made by Lion, but what's important is what it means. If you see this sign in Sundara, that means the animal you're about to see is part of Sundara's RRBR program, that is Rescue, Rehabilitate, Breeding, and Reintroduction. As you can see as well, the lions are critically endangered, so Sundara is doing everything it can to help with the cause. Here is also some information board over here as well. I used the same wood as this structure, so everything is within the same style. So, this is the biggest enclosure we have at the moment. It is 3,560 meters square, so it is a big place for them. The whole viewing area is all the way from that point to that point. It's semicircular, so it follows the shape of the facility. I designed it that way, so no matter where the lion is, you can always see them. Lions are a big animal, so they do require a large amount of land, especially knowing that this facility is home to a big pride of lion. We have Simba, Nala, Kiara, Mufasa, Zara, and Sarabi, so basically the Lion King family. And actually, just recently, we released 4 offspring back to the wild, so that is good news. With the big space that they have, they can go all the way up that hill, or they can hang out in their pride rock. Sometimes it's a really nice view to see them hanging up there. Underneath the pride rock, they have their cave, and most of the time that is where they go, because lions sleep for about 20 hours per day, I think. They also have a big pond in the middle. It's for them to play around and drink some water. And I've put a lot of this enrichment items around the enclosure, like the zebra and the antelope, just to stimulate how they are in the wild. A big part of this program is to keep this animal wild, so when it's time to take the offspring back to the wild, it's not a drastic change for them. And with a big enclosure, they have plenty of space for them to have fun. So personally, my favorite thing about this enclosure is it's actually not the enclosure itself. It's the design of the area. I really like how everything came out to be. The railing that I did for this enclosure is very similar to the ones we have on the caracal, enclosure, but this time there's this big gap between them, between the enclosure and the guest. Another thing that I really love is this openings that leads to the lion. I think the way it curves up and down, it's really nice. I think it's really realistic and it complements the whole thing. Let's head over here now. Okay, so this is the interactive education panels, so the guests can learn about the lions. And next to it, we have a big stand over here. Now, this is not an animal show where the lions have to do tricks and stuff. This is essentially a feeding show. The keepers will put the food where the guest can see, and as they eat, the educators can teach the guest about the lions. Now, if you notice, there's a big change to the fence. This were put here intentionally, so the lions can't jump over the fence or break it in any way. It's a much stronger fence, and because you can come close to the animal, especially on this side, we have to put a better fence. Unfortunately, there is no show at the moment, so let's get in the dome viewing. Since lions do sleep for about 20 hours per day, they like to hang just around here a lot. That's why I put the dome viewing in here, and I put another one here. Because down there, sometimes the guest can't see the animal if they're hanging up here. And yeah, that is the lion enclosure. Here's some cinematic. There's a reason why we're back here, because there is one more enclosure for us to check out. So next to the restaurant that we saw before, there is a spiral stair that goes up. And if you follow this, you can see the restaurant from above, which I think it's pretty cool. I mean, you can see the whole building from over here. I think this is a really nice angle. On the other side, if you look outside, you can see a sneak peek of the backstage. I know the guest in the game doesn't like to see them or even be near them. It's also like that in real life as well for most people. But for someone like me that loves zoos and aquariums and things like that, I would love to see the backstage areas. Sometimes if I'm visiting a zoo, sometimes I would try to take like a little peek, even though I'm obviously not allowed. So that's why I kind of make them visible like this. I think it's more natural that way. When you reach the second floor, there is another lion statue here. I wanted to decorate this wall, but unfortunately, it's a very hard thing. It's a very difficult thing to decorate because it's curved, and if I put something here, it's visible from the other side, from the outside, and because of there's gaps, so I just don't know what to do with it just yet. So I just put a lion statue here for now, and some information about the facility. I will put the link in the description on who created this sign. This is the second gift shop of the facility, a more complete one, that is. If you're wondering, I did not make this. These are all Shift Z's creation. I hope I say that correctly. It's in the workshop. They made this set piece, and I just reconstruct them a little bit so that it fits in here. These are amazing. It really helps me a lot because Planet Zoo doesn't have Planet Zoo's base game items on gift shop decorations are very minimal, and it's not detailed. So finding things in the workshop really helps making this all together. I also put these hanging bottles like the reception downstairs, and just blends them to the rest of the building. There's actually an interesting lore on why this gift shop is located here. I often find that most people that goes to the zoos or aquariums, you don't really explore every inch of the zoo. And me personally, I love to explore. So every time I go, I committed to like explore every inch of it. So this gift shop is like a little reward for the guest that likes to explore, because it is quite hidden. This hallway going outside is the viewing area for our next animal, the African wild dog. On the wall, there's these paintings or decoration of the African wild dog by, I believe, Irish X Lily. Hopefully I said that correctly. I just put them on the wall, and just this decorative piece alone transformed this viewing area from boring into something a bit more sophisticated. It's like from a flat gray with some wood into something interesting to look at. This viewing area is from the second floor, so you have this very nice top-down view looking at the African wild dogs. They are shy by nature, so having the viewing area at the ground level means that the guest wouldn't be able to see the animals very often. So having them elevated like this has its benefits. Let's actually find one. Oh, there's one over there. So, this pack came to us from a breeding program from Botswana. Sundara and other zoos in the world is tasked to breed them in captivity and reintroduce them back to the wild because they are currently an endangered species. We have 5 wild dogs. There's supposed to be 6, but unfortunately, we have to put one female down due to a hip dysplasia. She was under a lot of pain, and it's only right to not let them suffer for any longer. Lucky, Smith, and Mandala is our 3 male, and we have Georgia and Yara, that is our 2 female. African wild dogs are actually the biggest canids living in Africa. That might sound strange considering hyenas live in Africa, but hyenas are not canids. Another name for African wild dogs are painted dogs. These dogs have distinctly different individual patterns. It's believed to help them identify one another during hunting. African wild dogs are led by a dominant couple who are generally the only breeders in the group. They will remain with their parent group for at least 2 years before they set off on their own. Female African wild dogs, female sisters, will all leave together at the same time to find an all-male pack that just so happens to be related brothers. So when they come together, all the females are related to each other and all the males are related to each other. But males and females aren't related to one another. That is so interesting. It's so complex. Anyway, the enclosure was originally designed for a man wolf. However, wild dogs are habitat tolerant. That means they can just live pretty much anywhere beside extremely dense rainforest and extremely dense desert. So when we learned that the man wolf shipment was delayed for another year, we took in the African wild dogs and they fit in here just fine. Here on the left is the keeper entrance, which blends in with the facility nicely. And just behind here is actually the backstage area that we will go after this. This small hill is where the keepers would feed the animals, so the guest that is standing on this side, where we stand right now, would have a nice view on them eating. And they also have 2 different ponds for them to have fun. And right over there is their cave, is where they sleep. This viewing area was open before, so I needed to figure out how to put a shade on top of this, because when it rains, that means the guests would just have to step back inside the facility. I want them to still be able to see the animals even when it's raining. So I just follow the same design with the rest of the facility, and everything just comes together nicely. On this side is the information boards for all the African wild dogs. Man, I just love how this is decorated with these things on the wall. It's really nice. Shout out once again to Irish X Lily. You guys should definitely check it out and play around with this. This is amazing. And yeah, that is the African wild dog. So we are back at the Effiong VIP Lounge. So before the tour starts, you can buy some snacks or get some drinks while you wait. So the tour starts from the Aardvark, goes to the African porcupine, meerkats, the lion, and the wild dog. So you sort of go around the facility first, and at the end you get to see the backstage. So before going into the backstage, you are required to put all of your belongings, including phones or any gadget. We don't allow filming or any kind of documentation without permission. The backstage areas are not designed for public viewing, and it may contain sensitive equipment or procedures and whatnot. And it's also for security. Most of the stuff you'll see in the backstage are all from workshop items. So I will put every link down in the description if you want to check them out. After you put all of your stuff in the locker, you have a special access to see the African wild dog from up close. This is where the keepers can monitor and research the wild dog's behavior. We are adding a more wild dog in the enclosure, but before that, we need to identify the behavior pattern of this pack. So then everything will go smoothly. So this is where the keepers and the vets sort of do their stuff. So the only way for you to have access to this is also by joining the backstage tour. So that's like so if you don't buy the backstage tour, you don't have access to see this part. And next, this is the keeper area, the staff area, and the hospital. And over here is the entrance to the wild dog enclosure. There is a bunch of boxes scattered around, filled with some of the animal stuff of the animal in the facility. There's toys and a bunch of enrichment items. And over here is the planning and meeting area for all the staff. Back here is the meat. The white ones are for the felines and for all the felines, for all the big cats. The black one is for the fennec fox, meerkats, and African wild dogs. There's also fruit and veggies for the herbivores as well at the back. And at the end of it, this is the exit to the backstage area. There is another keeper entrance on that side. That is for another enclosure, but I can't show you that just yet, so look out for the next episode to see that. And yeah, that's pretty much the backstage. And let me give you a quick aerial tour of the facility. We have a couple of these generators, some AC, and a solar panel here as well, just to make it a bit more realistic. And yeah, that's about it. That's it for today's video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Tell me in the comments which enclosure you like the best and what is your favorite thing about this facility. Please let me know what you think. If you have any comments, suggestions, or anything you would like me to change, I would appreciate it. If you want to see more before the next video, you can join my stream here on YouTube. I stream everything I do in the zoo, so pop by, say hi, and we can have some fun together. I post updates on my Discord channel, and some of you like to share your zoos over there. So if you want to do that, you are more than welcome to join. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't and like the video. It really does help me out. See you guys. Bye bye.